With every season comes a slew of new waifus to try to take the crown from their fans. Whether it's a hot, useless goddess, a Dr. Pepper advertisement, a yandere queen, or a 1,000-year-old vampire. But every now and then, a certain type of character shows up that manages to trouble half the fans while exciting the other half. A character that feeds the otaku soul, while also managing to feed the otaku stomach. Yes, the sister character. The Imoto and Onesan of anime. One that fits the archetype of childhood friend, while also the perfect housewife role. A sister who's just as much of a dork as you are, or a little sister who can literally do anything. Cuteness triggering the desire to protect, or a heart of gold that wants to protect and guide you. It's the cause of screams of delight from the crowds while at the same time being mixed with groans of displeasure. A sister is really all you need. But what makes the sister archetype so appealing? Well, first we need to understand the different styles of sister characters. First off, we have the Otaku Sister. These sisters are some of the most appealing out there. What typically comes from living together with a sister is knowing each other's darkest secrets. And since, yes, being an otaku or a nerd or a geek is frowned upon by society, they can often find comfort in sharing their darkest secret with their brother. There's a sense of comfort that comes from that, a sense of trust that can't be found elsewhere, which is a stark contrast to your typical female character that may only reveal these secrets when there's a strong bond formed, or just by accident. It's typically by accident. Many fans will scream, "She's just like me, she's just like me," cherishing the thought of sitting down with these lovable gremlins to discuss the latest episode of their favorite show. Kirino of Oreimo is obviously a strong contender in this class. Not only is she a closet otaku, but she has a thing for emotos herself. Fitting, right? Shoot, who doesn't want to sit down with their sister and play ero games? Shudo of No Game No Life is about as mask off as you can get. A sister that's willing to join you to do just about anything. Want to waste away the day in front of a computer screen? She's already got a seat, and typically it's in your lap. Then of course we have the recent arrival of, yes, Yuki of Roshidere, a fun little gremlin otaku who partakes in some of the most degenerate stuff possible. Similar to Kirino, this girl's full diving into everything sis-con, and even delving into the realms of H. Not only that, but she loves being an alarm clock and supporting her brother in so many other ways. Plus, I can't get enough of that smug face. Moving on to our next category, we have one that has a soft spot in my heart. The supportive big sister types. These sisters are often older and exude an aura of knowledge and trust, being there in the darkest moments to provide support in many ways. Having a bad day, struggling with a problem, need advice on a disagreement? Big sis has your back. Kaede from Onimai immediately comes to mind when I think of this category. While she's not blood related to Mahiro, and definitely not a conventional sister with her gyaru style, Kaede comes into the rescue many times, not just for Mahiro, but for Mihari as well. Of course, Kaede doesn't hold a candle to the actual sister of Onimai, making herself into an actual big sister with science. Mihari is special because of the lengths in which she goes to save her brother from his closed-off life. Tries her damnedest to seek his attention, helps him find friends and establish a life that he enjoys. But also, how can you beat a sister who can turn you into best girl? You just can't. Well, not the big sister, but rather little sister. Komachi of Romantic Comedy Snafu is definitely a supportive type, often helping her brother with his issues. She's often seen as a wingman for him, constantly giving the push that he needs to get with the girls. Finally, I can't talk about big sister types without bringing up the recent amazing example given in Bokuyaba. Yes, Kana. She is an absolute mess, and I love her for it. Constantly worried about her brother, she comes across as completely misunderstood. But as time goes on, it's pretty clear this girl, despite having little in her life together herself, is always open to help her brother get his own act together. Seeing how proud she is when he steps out of his comfort zone is just priceless. Next, we have the doting ones, and the ones that we need to protect. Opposite to the big sister types and more than just age, the doting and protect types are often seen as fragile, adorable, and in need of a protective brother to both guide and shield them. They can sometimes be innocent and unstained by the horrors of the world, or simply just closed off from the outside in various ways. Kaede of Rascal Does Not Dream is about the best example you can find for this category. This adorable emoto can't help but trigger a primal desire for people to protect. Her trauma driving her so far as to shut herself from her past and isolate herself from everything but her big brother. If she crawls into your bed at night and seeks comfort, how could you push her away? Literally, how can you? Well, Norin of Mushoku Tensei definitely had a rocky start. I mean, this adorable little sister had a rough childhood. Despite that, in her growth, she becomes a hard worker. One you want to support, root for, and watch as she grows as a person. Then we have Hinata of Wataten, a bundle of fun. What person doesn't love a big-hearted girl that thinks her sibling is the greatest person in the world, despite the fact that the person is just a deadbeat and not even productive in society? The Monogatari series, of course, gives us a pair of great little sisters. And while you can argue that Karen doesn't need any protecting, she's pretty tough. She does need help with brushing her. Next category is the very common Housewife Sister. While oddly enough, mostly comprised of little sisters, Housewife Sisters are insanely skilled in all manner of taking care of their brothers. It's almost as if they've spent their entire childhood training under Gordon Ramsay and Tatsu. They can throw together a hearty 3-course meal, while at the same time clean laundry. It's almost as if they're looking for a marriage partner already. The first that comes to many people's minds right off the bat is Ui from K-On! Cursed with the dreaded missing parents trope, Ui takes it upon herself to tend many of the roles that her parents should, using every waking moment that she has to do housework and make meals. She's extremely dependable and a hardworking girl. Next, what list would be complete without the amazing Aisha of Mushoku Tensei? From birth, this girl has unfortunately had a washcloth in hand, and a maid outfit already tailored for her. Aisha was raised to serve her brother, and takes her responsibility extremely seriously. She's a genius, flawless, and a flirtatious attitude that will fill any house with love. And she's always waiting for her chance to sneak into your bed. Of course, a recent arrival to this category is Kaju of Too Many Losing Heroines. This girl has got it all together, preparing meals, going shopping, and even taking time out of her busy schedule to look after her brother's social life. Just make sure that if you bring any girl home, you let her interview them. Of course, not all anime has pure intent. And sure, many characters that I've already listed fit into this last category. There is many sisters who want to be more than just sisters. Call this last category the lewd sister category. Yes, Akko and Riko of Kiss X Sis is our prime suspects here. Shoot, you don't need shippers because the parents are shipping it. These two thirst buckets can't help but play into their own desires, practicing regularly, fiercely competing, and even joining together for their brother's unit, while suffering for the main character, much to the enjoyment of anybody watching. Then we have Kotori of Day Day Live. Yes, best girl, come at me. She's a fiery twin tail with 3 unique designs. The cute sister side that gives you morning wake-up calls. The reliable commanding side that runs an entire organization. And yes, finally, if you're into Onis, her spirit form is amazing. Then we have Sagiri of Eromanga Sensei that likes to draw. Moving on. Then there's... then we have... Okay, moving on because I don't want to get demonetized. Now that we've established the different types of sister characters, the question that we all have is, what's the appeal? The desire for a loving sister? It can be concluded that many enjoyers just don't have a familial establishment, and in many ways are just seeking one through storytelling. It does technically provide an avenue for certain bonds not found elsewhere. A sister can often be the ultimate forgiveness for flaws and mistakes. They see your worst stains. They're often the ones present whenever a character is at their worst. They support them when others have left them. It's sort of the same bond that you get from another beloved archetype of characters, the concept of the childhood friend. But rather, it's to its deepest level. Unlike a childhood friend, the brother and sister has spent their entire life with a bond of some sort. I mean, besides step-siblings. Is she really your sister? Is she really your sister? Like, really? Either way, this all unearths an element of showing all of yourself, stains and all. A sibling will often know your best and worst traits. There's not much hiding it. And in the end of the day, that can create a form of understanding that you just can't get anywhere else. It also helps that this level of understanding and closeness can bring comfort not seen anywhere else. Sister characters and their brother counterparts can often be more open. They express themselves more, and they create the best chemistry. Then again, this can all just be fluff to anybody looking for a scene from Kiss X Sis. And while many shout for these traits from the rooftop and love their sister characters, not everyone is for the sister types. In fact, it has become a point of conflict within the fandom for some time. How can such lovable and waifu status acquiring girls be so hated? Why do so many want to drive them from the fandom? Most outcry I typically see is the fact that, well, they have sisters of their own, like actual real sisters. Having lived with a sister or living with a sister and having no drive whatsoever to see non-platonic love of them leads them to instinctually push away the notion of sister waifu material. In fact, many of the reasoning I listed before about why sister characters are so appealing are quickly denounced by such individuals. They're the ultimate forgiveness for flaws and mistakes? Pfft, my sister won't forget them. She hates me for them. She will never support me in my bad times. She knows my deepest desires. Yeah, That's the problem. I have to keep them from her. She'll tease me to my grave. She'll never accept me for what I am. Of course, not all have dark experiences with their siblings. Many have formed strong bonds and relationships. But ultimately, when it comes to attraction, there's going to be an obvious issue. Even without a sibling, you can really see this from any other family members. In the end, some people just simply don't get it. They have their own sisters, and many fear the dangers of inbreeding and the side effects that come from that. Which makes sense, right? We don't want inbreeding to happen between fans and 2D fictional characters that are sisters of the main character that is fictitious. But funnily enough, that's actually the most odd thing about this clash of fandoms. Yes, put simply, one side loves the idea of a doting, lovable waifu sister, while the other side has a sibling and thinks it's gross. Or they're just not fond of the idea of wincest. But the disconnect that I find myself in, and many may agree here, is that they're all fictional characters. There's a bit of a disconnect from the rules of the world itself. While yes, those that dislike a sister archetype have a point, I think it's in connecting the main character with that relationship with the sister. Not so much the viewer loving the sister character. So in the end, it's safe, right? No matter what side on the fence you sit on, the sister character will always remain, and fans will continue to enjoy them. The sister characters are delight. I love to see them. I love to dote on them, and I love to protect them. Well, except for Umaru-chan.